put the two together, which is extremely hard, especially because his book is quite thin. So he's made this very readable. The book itself, I believe, is 350 pages. It's a thin book, but he's trying to essentially take practical, useful advice and then applies mathematical, academic rigor to the applications of machine learning in finance, given his experience, his research. There's a lot of references to papers in there, a lot of his own papers, but in general, that's what he's trying to do, is put together usability and the rigorous amount into one, which I think is extremely challenging, and I think he did a fairly good job in this book. So I've heard a lot of people complain that, oh, it's just basic machine learning, I wanted something super advanced and whatever. The book does a really good job at actually taking things and talking about how you structure and set data up. The structure of the book, I think, is amazing. So there are different sections in here. He has a preamble, but then he has a part one, which is data analysis, just setting up and cleaning your data, as I mentioned, labeling, sampling weights, stuff like that. And then he talks about part two is modeling, part three is back testing, part four is useful financial features, part five is high performance computing recipes. So I really like the book because he actually goes through essentially what you would do in an entire process of data cleaning, modeling, back testing, looking at all these different components. And he also dives into the fact that the computing, the computer science side, the hardware side, for example, is also important to having good performance. So I think that's a good plus as well. Probably the best part of the entire book for me is that he talks about in the beginning, the preamble, essentially why most funds fail. And he talks about how having a structure is crucial and important, because having a structured team, so for example, those that are developing and those that are backtesting and doing other things, so in banking we call this development and validation, we do have structured independent processes. This is crucial for investing firms as well, and he points out in the book and mentions many of them fail because you build something and it's built to fit a specific set of data, and then most people aren't backtesting correctly, or you use methodologies that aren't the best suited for your data, or more likely you essentially build it so it fits your out-of-time sample, and then your backtesting feeds it, and so you have confirmation bias essentially. It's super hard to get around. Again, having separate people, separate teams, not letting them go across lines, I think is probably the most important aspect to take away from the entire book. Alright, so now what is the book really used for? I think it's somewhat complicated and over-complex for somebody who's coming from a background that doesn't have a strong math, stats, and computer science background, for example. Why? Because you need to understand the theory behind it, you need to understand financial markets a bit. To put it all together, to really utilize this book, to really do this in practice, you would need to go and look at all the papers that he references in the book to see how they're actually implemented. He does provide code, which I think is awesome, for Python, and it shows you how to do workarounds. He also mentions issues inside of Python packages, which I don't think very many people ever acknowledge. And he provides code again for workarounds on that, saying, this is a failure in some package like NumPy or something. It's not going to give you an accurate result. Here's the code. This is what we use to actually fix this. So I think it's great and it's stellar. I don't think this book would be a book for someone with a business background. I don't think it's going to be that useful for you. I do think it's far more technical. It's not going to be something you pick up, you read, it's super simple, and then you implement, and then you trade off and make lots of money. He's providing just general theory and practice on machine learning and advances, and things essentially that make a good